Soul Simmers, my name is Darth Jaswick and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be rebuilding this pier palace house in Windenburg. I really don't like the way that it looks, so I'm just going to build a cabin. I really wanted to do a cabin by this lake. I really like Windenburg specifically because it's just such a great world. There's so many spots to build. There's like, I think 20 lots that you can build on, and it's like one of the biggest worlds in the game. So I really like to build here. We have the shell of the build already finished. I'm just adding wallpaper from Growing Together. Everything on the outside is from Growing Together. So these windows from Growing Together were actually the inspiration behind this build. I never used this like slanted one, so I wanted to use that in something. Moving into the kitchen though, we have a cottage living counters and then a Growing Together fridge. I wanted to use like red, but I didn't know if it would be too much for in here, so I ended up going with a brown fridge from Snowy Escape. We also have a tiny little island here that I put a couple of bar stools at just because we needed a little bit more seating. There's not a whole lot of room in here, so I didn't have room for like a proper dining room table. There probably was enough room. I always just worry about your Sims being able to route around things properly. Moving on to the living room though, I have a fireplace from Horse Ranch and a couple of couches from the Book Nook kit. I also thought it would be nice to have this coffee table from the Outdoor Retreat pack. It almost looks like somebody made it themselves. I thought about giving us a fuzzy rug, but I didn't know if that would look good. It was a little bit too much brown, and I wanted to bring in a tiny bit of color in here, so I chose this rug from Growing Together. They have so many good rugs from Growing Together. I love all the swatches. I wasn't really feeling the couches from the Book Nook kit, so I ended up swapping it out with the Basement Clutter Kit couch. It's kind of like worn and torn and old, and I love it. I also kind of love the storytelling aspect of it because maybe they had this old couch in their house and then they decided to take it to the cabin. I forgot to mention that I made this a vacation rental. Although it doesn't show that on the gallery, it just classifies it as a regular residential house. I think that's just a problem with the gallery, but it is a vacation rental. You can just make it as a regular house if you really wanted to. That's entirely up to you, but that's what I have it set as. I wanted to create a little nook for our microwave, so when I put in the cabinets, I added a tall pantry cabinet and then put the microwave behind that. But I still wanted it to be functional because I tried raising up the microwave and it just wasn't working, and it also wouldn't be functional that way. I was also having a really hard time just attaching this curtain to the window. For some reason, it kept snapping up to like the cabinet's height, and I don't know why that was. For you guys, that was only like 30 seconds. For me in real time, it was probably like 5 minutes of me trying to just like clip it to the window and not the wall. I also added a little paper towel roll and this little condiment bucket from the Horse Ranch pack. It's pretty cute. It fits the vibes in here like perfectly, and it also comes in a matching swatch, which is very surprising because that doesn't happen very often. I gave them a radio from the Horse Ranch pack as well. We also have a little lamp from the Outdoor Retreat pack in the corner there. I also wanted to make sure that your Sims had a bookshelf so they can buy skill books if they need to while they're on vacation. We also have just like a few other activities outside and around in the house for your Sims to do. But for now, we're going to move on to our master bedroom. I wanted to use this bed from Horse Ranch. It has like a yellow bedspread on it, and I really like it. I gave us nightstands from the Horse Ranch pack as well, and then I kind of like had to do some adjusting with the windows. I didn't like how far apart they were. I also never used this rug from Nifty Knitting, so I thought it would be nice to use it in here. We have like the similar like Horse Ranch vibes going on with the pattern on the rug, so I thought it would be nice to add in here. I'm also just going to add a few old photos of Windenburg kind of like around the build, and then a few lanterns above our nightstands instead of lamps. I don't really do that very often unless I want to add like a ton of clutter to our nightstands, which is kind of what I was going for. I wanted it to seem like they maybe take their watch off, so I have a few items from the Everyday Clutter kit. Also, now that I'm going through the clutter category, I'm also just adding some random items to the living room here and there, like some game boards. I wanted it to seem like they maybe ran out of storage, so they just kind of stashed the other ones that they weren't using underneath the table. I'm also adding a little box of junk and then this suitcase to the master bedroom to make it seem like they had just gotten there and they hadn't put their stuff away yet. That was pretty much it for the master bedroom. I'm just adding in some curtains in all of our rooms now. They're like pull down curtains from the base game. But we're going to be moving on to our teen and child room. They share a room, and then our toddler has its own room because I have a little bit more furniture in there for them. I also gave us a little yak stool because I've noticed that toddlers really love to sit on ottomans over any other piece of furniture. I added in a dollhouse from the Eco Lifestyle pack. It looks like it's made out of cardboard, which I think is really cool. It's like recycled. I also gave them a toy box from Growing Together so they can play with toys here and not just be limited to just the dollhouse. I'm also going to change how our layout of the bathroom is. I didn't like how you had to go into one of the bedrooms in order to get to a bathroom. Just didn't think the toddler needed access to the bathroom because I always put the potty chair inside the toddler's room so they don't have to walk very far, because I tend to like kind of lock my toddlers in their bedroom so they don't like wander off and get outside. I'm adding a stool in their bedroom too, just so they can sit down in there while they're eating. I usually just like drag and drop a plate of food in here so that they don't have to like walk around and try to get into the kitchen and do it. Because it almost never fails that whenever a toddler or an infant is hungry, every single sim that is capable of doing it will try to feed that baby. And it is so annoying, so I always just lock them in the room by themselves. Your sims will get stuck in a loop of like trying to pick up the toddler and then put it back down and then pick it up and then put it back down, and it's just not worth it. I gave our toddler a big pud stuffy and some blocks to play with, and then we also have a creativity table in the kids' room just so they have a little bit more stuff to do for creativity. I want to say the dollhouse helps with your child's imagination skill and not the creativity, but I could be wrong. I wanted this vacation rental to seem a little bit lived in, like they've been there for a few days, so I'm adding a few clutter items from the little campers kit. We have like a stack of pillows to make it seem like our child had maybe been reading to our toddler. The thing about these pillows though is that I wish we could sit on them. Like even cross-legged, just like sit on the floor like a meditation stool, but they don't function like that. They're just an object. Your sim will like step on them and clip through them. And then for the final touches in here, I'm just going to add a little stuffy from the toddler stuff pack and then another rug from the horse ranch pack. We're going to move on to the landscaping now though. I'm using a bunch of debug items for the landscaping, so your sims might like clip through them occasionally when they're walking around. Don't worry about it, they'll be fine. I'm using these trees from Debug because we don't really have a lot of landscaping from Get Together in our actual build by catalog. We actually don't have any landscaping from Get Together. And I wish they would give us this stuff in the regular catalog because it's so hard to find if you don't know where to look. These huge bushes like really help out when you're landscaping because they cover a lot of ground space and they look nice. And really all you have to do is add like some flowers and maybe a few rocks, and then it looks like the landscaping around the world. I also just really like these trees from Windenburg because they are really nice if you want to build like a tree house because they're really tall and they don't really have a lot of branches or any foliage in the way. So if you want to know how to access the debug menu, you just have to type into the cheats panel bb.show hidden objects and then bb.show live edit objects, and I'll put them on the screen for you. And there's just so many like great things in debug, like all the cars from around the world, all the landscaping, like the shells of the houses that are in the world. Like if you wanted to pretend to copy one of those shells, you could also just like put it down and trace around it with the wall tool. But I think I've talked about debug enough. Let's get back to the build here. Have a bin from Get Together and then an outdoor dining room table that has an umbrella so your sims can sit outside and eat if they need to. On the porch, I thought it would be fun to add a little wind chime. They actually get like a special moodlet from hearing the wind chimes, so I thought that would be nice to have in our cabin. I also added a bench from Outdoor Retreat and the little object from Get Together that has a bunch of logs stacked inside of it so your sims can get wood from there and bring it inside. I say that like it's functional. It's not. I'm having to move all my landscaping over a little bit because I wanted to make room for the swing set so your sims can like sit out there and watch the sunset. But that is just about all I have for today's speed build. We'll be getting to the tour in just a few moments, but if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button because it really helps out. I try to upload a couple videos a week, so subscribe and hit the bell button to get a notification every time I post a new video. I hope you all have an amazing day, and I'll see you all in the next one. Dag dag!